Folks, what's going on? HeirofCarthage here, and I can finally bring you some battle footage with some of the new units from the Grom and Paunch DLC. Now, I will have a friend here operating those units. It's going to be Indypride from the Milk and Cookies Total War channel. If you all don't know him, you're crazy, and you should. I will have a link there. I'll be leading a Great Gobbo Shaman on a Catchweb Spider Shrine and his Greenskin army. The army of the Greenskins is made up of the 8 Peak Loonies, some Black Orcs behind their Great Gobbo Shaman, a couple of Gobbo Big Bosses using a new Stabbin' ability, which I will show you all later. And then I've got some Gobbo Spearmen that are heavily chevroned, holding up the flanks, and they are supported by Boar Boy Biggins. So a relatively simple army. However, as with any good Greenskin army, there has to be a lot of light cavalry. And I have that out here on the flanks. I'm rocking some new units here that won't necessarily be available in normal multiplayer matches, but if you click off unit caps, you can use them, and that is what we did this time. I do have some the Deaf Creepers here, and they are going to be supported by a Lava Spider. This is one of the new WA units from the Greenskin campaign with some armor-piercing weapon strength and missile damage. And then on the other side, I've got Morgrub's Mangy Marauders and another Lava Spider. Let's go check out Indy's army. So if I am playing as the Great Gobbo Shaman, I guess otherwise known as Spider-Man right now because he's on a Spider Shrine, then Indypride is playing as Eltharion, who is High Elf Batman. So yes, this is Batman versus Spider-Man. I'm sure to be sued by all of the comic book companies. In any case, we got Eltharion here on Stormwing, so this is a new unit in the DLC, and Eltharion on Stormwing is absolutely vicious, a fantastic character, and I have enjoyed him thus far in campaign, and I'm excited to show him to you in battle. Obviously, there'll be some campaign footage of this dude coming up, all in good time, and when I say good time, I think tomorrow, depending on exactly what I choose, but probably tomorrow. In any case, yeah, here he is on his legendary mount. Let's take a look at his stats. Eltharion, as far as stats go, he's got about 4,044 hit points, which is going to be pretty solid. 100 armor, 98 leadership. Right now there's a buff going on because of the martial mastery type thing. Anyway, look at the weapon damage. 450 weapon damage, 54 attack, 44 defense. He is quite a tough character. He does have high magic, so he's a hybrid character, and quite a good hybrid character, to be honest. When you're flying around on a Griffith with high magic, that has a lot of potential. Now, in this case, Indypride has outfitted him with Arcane Unforging and Apotheosis, so there'll be a little bit of healing, and then he's got his special weapon here. I'll show you all. This is going to be the Fang Sword of Eltharion, which gives him huge physical resistance and armor-piercing weapon damage buffs while he is under the influence of it. It takes a 120-second cooldown, but a nice buff up there. He's also got this Mistwalker's Barrage, and basically when he gets engaged in melee, this bombardment can come in and cause damage to the units around him, so it will be a pretty good ability. Also here, this is a unit that I don't think will be in standard multiplayer. It is a Mistwalker unit from the campaign. It is the Knights of Torgaval. This is a 3-unit, basically Griffin Knight unit for the High Elves. Very cool looking Griffins that they've got here. And basically, if you look at the Knights of Torgaval, there's almost 12,000 hit points, and that's split amongst 3 models. So these guys are going to be insanely tough to bring down. It's kind of like 3 lords in one, almost. Not, when you look at the stats, not quite, but very close. And they deal some massive armor-piercing damage with a solid charge bonus and pretty solid armor to boot. So the Knights of Torgaval, again, another new unit you'll see here. And behind them, yet another new unit. So we're going to deliver on some of these new units. And this is one that a lot of people were probably very excited to see. This is a White Lion Chariot. And you can see here it is headed up by a couple of White Lion troops, and then the War Lions of Trace pulling it. So a very cool an armor-piercing chariot unit here, something the Aethelmar chariot wasn't able to do before, and now the White Lion chariot can do it, or they call it the Lion Chariots of Trace. I've just been calling it White Lion Chariot in my own head, but yeah, Lion Chariot of Trace. Now, for the rest of the High Elf army, there's going to be some standard spearmen up front. I think that's all the new units in this particular battle. I will be coming back with another video soon, just kind of doing a quick coverage of all the new units from the Greenskins and the High Elves. And then we'll cover the Mistwalker campaign units specifically later on. with Eltharion. But anyway, yeah, 4 High Elf Spearmen. There is a single Swordmaster of Hoeth, and then a couple of Illyrian Reaver Archers. Folks, let's let this battle get underway. It's going to be a good one. Indypride is no stranger to multiplayer. Of course, he and I are not sweating over these matches. We're having a good time, but I know that I'll always have a good challenge every time I play him. And if you want to see some more battle footage, head over to his channel if you haven't already. He has another battle where I played as Eltharion and he played as Grom. Should be a really fun one. It was a very close battle, and also features a rogue idol and Grom, which you haven't gotten to see here, so not yet at least, you will, but highly suggest you go check that out on his channel if you haven't already. So yeah, the battle is getting lined up, and the 2 players are squaring off. As for me, I have to do some skirmishing with my light cavalry. The light cavalry was intended to keep me safe from heavy cavalry use, which the greenskins have always kind of been weak to. So I had the light cavalry there to skirmish, poison, and just otherwise mess with a heavy cavalry push by the High Elves had it materialized. There is some heavy cavalry on the field in the terms of Silver Helms, but just the 1 unit. So nothing I'm terribly concerned about. Now the game is going to get started with the 8 Peaks Loonies taking on some Spearmen, and they're going to be immediately charged by the Knights of Torgaval, and that's going to require my Catchweb Gobbo to come in and push them back. So some sweet spider action early on. I guess Eltharion is Batman, and he's supposed to be scared of bats, but I guess in this case spiders are more of his bane. My 2 Goblin Big Bosses are supporting my Goblin Infantry, which is heavily chevroned, as many chevrons as I could fit on, because I just needed these guys to tank longer than typical trash Gobbos, and I wanted all these cheap units in here to help build up the WA meter, which you can see is building up really quickly right now. So I should be able to get my first WA available soon. You can see that there is a full-on engagement now from the High Elves, and the Knights of Torgaval and Eltharion are kind of circling the battlefield. The Lion Chariots of Trace are absolutely shredding through my infantry where they get involved. My Black Orcs have been moved up to potentially help support. We did have Silver Helms and everything here in the middle. There comes the first WA on the Gobbo Great Shaman. You can see that it's going to buff up the weapon damage of all my units fairly significantly. Though I do have a problem here. A Swordmaster of Hoeth crashed through some of my boys here. I did have 2 Orc boys, if I failed to call them out earlier. And no big surprise here, but I'm going to kind of have to chase them down with my Black Orc, and we're going to get a classic engagement here between 2 extreme heavyweights with the Black Orc and the Swordmasters, but I kind of like the position my Black Orcs are in there. I feel like they should be able to help win that fight. And meanwhile, it looks like Eltharion's going to charge the Catchweb, but then he doubles back into my Black Orcs and just absolutely starts to shut them down. So we're going to see Eltharion come into his own here. He may be a caster, but this dude is absolutely dangerous in melee. And you're going to see a situation which was actually probably good for my Black Orcs turn really bad, really fast, as Eltharion just absolutely drives the Batmobile straight through my Black Orcs and destroys them. Meanwhile, Spider-Man over here on the Catchweb Shrine is busy tying down a lot of High Elf units. He's got to deal with the Knights of Torgaval and some Silver Helms. He's surrounded by Goblins, and I am using a series of debuffs throughout this battle that may not be active this moment, but let me explain the thinking behind it. I had Itchy Nuisance and Gork'll Fix It. Itchy Nuisance takes away, I believe it's weapon damage and melee attack, and then I've also got Gork'll Fix It, which takes away charge speed and I think speed in general, charge bonus, charge speed. I'll get it right here in just a minute. And then there's a direct damage ability that comes along with the Catchweb Shrine. I've got it here. I've not yet used it, I don't believe, on Eltharion, but it's going to also do damage to him. Plus, the spider is poison. And then I've got 2 Gobbo Big Bosses on their spiders. And if we take a look at those 2 Gobbo Big Bosses real quick, I just want to show you their little stabby ability here. They need stabbing, so I can debuff armor and melee defense even further. So basically my Greenskin army was meant to kind of be a constant debuff for the High Elves. You can see an almost, just near stretched right down the middle power bar here, as Indypride and I have effectively traded sides in the battle. I beat down his right flank. He was managed to beat through my left flank, and the fight is going to continue. Though one key thing for me, I didn't catch it earlier, I was able to save some Boar Boy Biggins that were being threatened by the Knights of Torgaval and Eltharion by using a Gorkle Fix-It to slow them down and get my boar boys away and wait for a better engagement. I know how important it is for me to have these boar boys alive late into the game because they're going to provide some extremely important blocking and anti-large armor piercing to my army. So if I want to win, I've got to keep those guys alive. It's also at this point where I continue to do some scouting on Eltharion, and I realize that he does not have what do you call it? There's an ability, I can't remember the name of the spell, but basically where the Phoenix comes crashing across. It's one of the breath spells from the high magic. I'll remember it here in a minute, but anyway, yeah, he doesn't have basically a vortex spell or a breath spell, so I am going to be able to blob, and that's actually really good for my greenskins because they can benefit from the leadership of all my big bosses against the terror, and then the benefit of Gorkle Fix-It and the support of the Catchweb Shrine, which is really my main damage dealer that's left in this army. I'm expending what ammunition I have left, mostly towards the Sword Masters of Hoeth. Just want to take these guys down as low as possible, but we still have some big threats here. There's some Silver Helms, there are some Lion Chariots of Trace and Eltharion, and you can see as all this charges in, I hit him with Gorkle Fix-It. Eltharion is going to get hit with the special ability here. So, or sorry, he hits me with Arcane Unforging, and then I get him with just about everything I can hit him. I got They Need Stabbing and Gorkle Fix-It, so again you can see as Indypride charges in, all of his forces are going to be debuffed to the max capability for me. The Wa is building up, and I'm about to be able to release it, and as soon as it gets there, I will be basically kicking that on. I say as soon as, but very quickly. There goes the Wa. So I'm able to unleash even more damage on him, and in the blob, I'm in pretty good shape. You can see he's having a hard time terrorizing too many of my units. And as much as you don't like the blob in multiplayer, there are times when it can be done, and this is one of those times because he just doesn't have the vortex spell to punish me for it. However, I would tell you under normal circumstances, be extremely careful of what you're seeing me do here because you can get absolutely wiped out by a vortex spell, so just be aware of when and when not to do those types of things. But like I said, for me at the moment, this is probably my best defense, as it will prevent me from being chain routed. See another massive charge here coming in from the Knights of Torgaval, who haven't even lost half their hit points, nor has Eltharion, so give you an idea of just how tanky these guys are. As he lands this time, he gets another Gorkle Fix-It, another Needs Stabbin', and he even got the Catchweb Don't Even Think About It ability, which starts taking away his hit points. So at this point, still spread pretty even in the power bar, but I'm feeling somewhat confident that I have a good chance to pull this one off because of all the debuffs. My units just aren't routing, and that's going to start creating a lot of problems for Indypride, and it's going to make it difficult for his units to be able to finish off my Catchweb Shrine here. Man, this game is sweet. Awesome effects, fun animations, and the new units don't disappoint. There's lots of cool animations. The Rogue Idol, Grom, and many others. You'll definitely be seeing them as these battles unfold. And at this point, Eltharion starts to just take massive amounts of damage as he tries to get away from my boar boys. The Knights of Torgaval have only lost one unit and are still tanking it in combat. And I actually do get my boars terror routed here, which I was kind of afraid of. You can see a few other units break, but the power bar has started to swing for me because of the damage that Eltharion took. And then the Knights of Torgaval got stuck for quite a long time there. The Silver Helms were routed. And then over here, the Sword Masters passed 200 kills. These guys are absolute tanks and have really done a tremendous job throughout this battle, supported by some spearmen. But here comes another itchy nuisance. And you can see a nice finishing battle here between Eltharion and SPIDERMAN on his Catchweb Shrine. A pretty appropriate matchup for Eltharion as he hates greenskins. I know this one isn't Grom, but I did play one of those battles, and you can go check that out on Indypride's channel. Down goes Batman. I guess Spider-Man wins this one, so one victory for the greenskins. The Warden doesn't always prevail, I guess, as we all know, because I think, if I remember lore right, Tor of Res was actually sacked by Grom at one point, right? And then he swore that, Eltharion swore that it would never happen again. Anyway, fun matchup here with Indypride. This guy's awesome. Like I said, if you haven't checked out his channel, go do it. Look at the work that some of his units were getting done. Swordmaster's picking up a Chevron with 209 kills. Silverhelm's picking up a Chevron with 127. 127 on the Lion Chariots. 74 kills and a Chevron on the Knights of Torgaval. So a lot of really impressive and cool new units here. And on my side, there's also some new units. Yes, these could have already been showed in some previous footage, but new units nonetheless. We had the Catchweb Shrine for the Gobbo Great Shaman. I'm really excited about this because it makes the Gobbo Great Shaman a viable lord for fun in campaign. He actually has a cool mount instead of just the wolf. And I really, really like this addition. It's going to make him a lot more fun to play in multiplayer and more viable. And then the Lava Spiders, again, not available in standard multiplayer, but if you're turning off the, where you can use the campaign units, you can use these Lava Spiders and other stuff just to add some even more flavor to an already pretty full greenskin roster now, thanks to the DLC. Now, some of you may want to see some of the other new greenskin units. I will be showing those coming up soon. Also, if the plan goes according, and we'll see how that is, I'm going to start an official Eltharion campaign tomorrow. That campaign is going to be a more traditional Vortex campaign, where I will probably cut out some turn-ins if they're too long, or some of the other stuff, but it'll basically be a more traditional playthrough with Eltharion on the Vortex map. I will then pick up a Grom the Paunch Mortal Empires campaign that will be a thematic one. Figured that would be a fun thing to do. And with Grom, we will play a more thematic, like WA type campaign. I'll look at a little bit of the lore on him, and we will try and just make it more like my Archaon and my Gorok campaigns, where it had cinematic battles and a more themed nature to it. So that one should be fun as well. And then eventually, of course, I will do some playing as Emmerich. I'll probably show you a little bit of his campaign and give you some tips, although I won't actually jump in and fully play through that one until I finish one of the other ones. But some folks have been asking me when we get another campaign, and that is indeed when you will get it. So thanks again to Indypride. It was fun playing battles with them. I love that guy. He's, in my opinion, one of the best Total War YouTube creators out there. He does fun streams. He does good battle videos. He's been working for a long time on YouTube as well, and has really made a lot of good content over the years, and is a great Total War player. So it's always an honor to get to play with him. Please go check out his stuff if you haven't already. Love to see people like him succeeding in the Total War community. I'm a geezer around here. I've been around for a long time, and I appreciate all you folks who are here. I love having you here, and I'm going to keep making videos for you for a long time. But I love introducing these folks. Not that he really needs an introduction by me. I think his channel's probably churning up more views and everything than me these days. But I just want to make sure that you all know who he is. Awesome creator. Make sure you go check it out. Anyway, HeirofCarthage signing out for now. Can't wait to see you soon with some more Total War Warhammer 2 action.